Hey, so we are here because as professionals come back from attending events and conferences and meetings and prepare to go to other conferences, events, and meetings, some might think that just being in the right room is enough. But unfortunately, that's not the case because we can absolutely be at the table but voiceless and not having the right conversations. And it really doesn't have to be that way. As you come in, definitely say, I love to hear where you're from. I love to see where people are from. And we are here to talk about how to be prepared for the yes. Because sometimes, hey there, we're all too ready for the no's and sometimes even over prepared for the no's. But what happens when the answer is yes? And this will be shorter. I'm going to continue this conversation over on Clubhouse at 3:30 Eastern time. I'm going, well, a little before 3:30 Eastern time. I'm going to stop the conversation here and head over to Clubhouse to hopefully have like a back and forth dialogue about this because a lot of people are coming back from healthcare events. Um, Conferences, they're preparing to go to different events, and they'll be having conversations with people in ways that we haven't had in some time for some. And I just want you to be ready for when the conversations go well. And so, just to recap, you can absolutely, hey, Dallas Fort, we're okay, awesome. Hey there. And just also share where you're from. This will be super interesting to see where everybody's from because as things are happening out and about, as I'm hearing about stuff, I like to know like who I need to reach out to again. But we're here because as more people are coming back from events, especially in healthcare, they just finished up a very huge event and another one coming. You can absolutely be at the table but not have a voice. And it doesn't have to be that way at all for you. My name is Amelia, and I'm a collaboration consultant and Iowa. Okay, awesome. And my 20 years of experience, almost 20 years of experience in healthcare and 6 years in business, I've learned that a lot of problems when it comes down to not being prepared to partner, not being prepared for the yes, not knowing how to leverage relationships that you do make and have those develop into something that's a win-win situation, really boils down to one of two issues. It's either the right story is not being told, that's number one, or the right collaboration is not happening. And so, again, from my time in healthcare to business to taking on corporate clients, whenever there's a challenge or a conflict or a process that's not working, it's always related to um, a story or a collaboration that's not happening. So last week I did a live just like this about being prepared to partner. So if you are thinking about doing a partnerships or thinking about growing in a more collaborative way, um, we are let's go back to the one I did last week, or let me know. I'm happy to send you the link where we talked about being prepared to partner. And there's a framework that I went over there that can absolutely help you as you get into a circumstance when people say, "So, what would you like to do? How would you like this collaboration to look?" You can absolutely have a more confident answer because there have been circumstances where people, and this was actually sort of inspired by Arian Long, who shared an experience of somebody who reached out to her and she asked them like how could she be of service and they weren't really prepared for an ask. And that reminded me of a client who was getting on podcasts, they're getting on virtual summits, and they're making lots of relationships with people who had stages for them. And some time went by and I went back to ask, hey, how are those relationships going? Did anything blossom into anything? And they said, you know what, I didn't know I was supposed to do anything with those relationships. I didn't really keep them going. And that's also happened with somebody else who was in a meeting with a very large organization we all know by name, and they asked her what would she want out of this relationship, and she didn't know what to say. So don't forget, Amelia, we're going to network, eat good. Oh yes, oh my goodness, that's going to be such an amazing event. I'm so happy for you guys. So yeah, it's a good food as well. Angie says, please send a link. Okay, yes, Angie, I absolutely will. So so we are here to talk about, how to be ready for the yes. So we're so sometimes ready for the no, sometimes over prepared for the no. We're really braced for that. The truth is that conceptual and executive thinking takes time and it takes uninterrupted focus. So to even begin to think about what we want out of those collaborations, we need to kind of pause on life a little bit. Well, not life, but pause out of the day a little bit and take a minute to sit with a blank piece of paper and kind of think about a few this framework, the scale framework that I'm going to go with three about. Lovely says relationship nurturing is so important. Absolutely, absolutely. So the framework that's going to help prepare you for a yes. And this isn't all inclusive. I don't know your personal business goals or professional goals, and I can't give you exacts, but the framework is a framework. And if you're in healthcare, you might say, this sounds really familiar, Amelia, and it absolutely should. It's based on a scientific process, and it's the process that we use to take care of anything that comes up, whether it's a train wreck, literal train wreck, or a train wreck, of a situation in a boardroom or office or on a team. It helps you to assess, find out what your resources are, and evaluate. And so let's go through it. So the acronym is SCALE. So if you want to write that on your piece of paper, just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, five columns, and it will give you a good starting point, I hope. So, and if not, 3:30, we're going to continue the conversation over on Clubhouse. Just look up talk the number 2 Amelia, tap my face, and you'll see the room that I'm going to be in 3:30. All right, so S stands for SCAN. So SCAN stands for scan your capacity to receive. What is your capacity to receive? And really sit with this and be honest. Like if your capacity to receive is low, like if you're only like emotionally, let's talk about emotionally. If you're only emotionally ready to receive um, some rocks and sticks, if someone were to offer you the world, you'd say, no, I don't want that, because you're not in a position to receive that right now. Nothing's wrong, nothing's bad about that. Just be honest with yourself about what you can receive in this moment, or as you prepare to go to that event. Like, what are you wanting to receive? What are you able to receive? If someone literally were to say, you know what, I think I could imagine us doing this, that, and the other, Clubhouse. Yes, Angie. Just yeah, tap my face, or look up talk the number 2 Amelia, tap my face, and it should show you like a room that I'm talking in at 3:30. But if your capacity to receive, whether it's emotional capacity or your team capacity, maybe your team is, stressed and dealing with a lot of stuff, they might not have the capacity to take on a large partnership, or maybe your tech systems aren't set up and you really can't take on anything much larger than anything that requires a spreadsheet and a piece of paper. Nothing's wrong with that. Just know that that's your truth for right now. Um, and C stands for create boundaries. So create boundaries. Sometimes when it comes to doing a collaboration with a larger organization, um, they could want the world of you, and you might not have the resources to support them in the way that they think that you can support them. And it's not saying that that collaboration won't work. It just needs to the relationship might need to be adjusted, and they will appreciate that from you. They would appreciate hearing you to say, actually, we don't have the resources to do a project that looks like this, but what we do have is resources to do a project that looks like we don't have resources to do ABC, but we do have resources to do XYZ. Could XYZ serve your needs right now at this time? And just have a very honest conversation about that. I've seen that worked out amazingly well in lots of situations. And when you have that C, when you're creating boundaries, that also empowers you and your team to say easy yeses and confident nos. So sometimes the collaboration, they might want to collaborate with you, but as you ask some of these questions, actually, it might turn into a no or not right now. A, articulate your needs. Just as sort of a recap of the things that we kind of were talking about earlier, but articulate your needs from the collaboration or your connection. A can also stand for articulating your unique value and also alignment. So, A, articulate your needs, articulate your unique value, and know what your alignment is. What would be a collaboration or a yes moment that's completely out of alignment. That really requires you sitting with and knowing your values and beliefs, and of course your objectives and goals. But beyond that, that can also help this process go a little further. So we were talking about how to be prepared for a yes. We talked about how there's a lot of people coming back from conferences, especially in healthcare. A large conference is just wrapping up, and others are coming up. And when you go there, you're meeting new people, you're developing relationships, hopefully. You're keeping them in touch, and some of those relationships might blossom into a conversation that sounds like a company asking you, so how do you see a collaboration working out, or how do you see a partnership working? And I want you to be equipped with a response. So to do that, we're going through a framework called SCALE. I did a live last week. If you want a link, just let me know. And SCALE is a framework that will help you to be more equipped and prepared to partner and prepared for the yes moments. And this works because it's based on a scientific method. So that works in all industries, all roles. It just works because the bottom line is, as I mentioned, that when we are in a circumstance, we want to be successful, we want to be seen as the well informed, well resourced leader, but sometimes we don't feel as prepared as we should be. That's my reminder to head on over to Clubhouse. But the problem when we're in those situations and we don't feel as prepared as we should be is usually one of two things. There's either a story that's not being told or the right partnership that's not happening. And to address this, we're going through the S.C.A.L.E framework. So articulate needs. L is leverage resources. These might be your current resources. These might be new resources that you need in order to say yes. Just know, like generally speaking, where you are now in terms of your resources to support a potential collaboration. And E is evaluate. Evaluate what support would look like. Evaluate what a win would look like. Evaluate just you're going through the scale, framework, and just evaluate that if that's what you have right now. But as you start to develop these partnerships and um, ones give you learning lessons and other ones are great, continually go through this framework so you can keep assessing and keep learning about what will make for a better next partnership. So I'm going to wrap up here. If you want to continue this conversation, I'm going to be over at Clubhouse at 3:30 and pretty much reviewing the same thing, but also opening it up. If you want to have back and forth dialogue, we can absolutely chat about that. All right. You guys take care and thank you for joining. Bye.